Ukraine.
From the moment the war began, Alexei Navalny has been incredibly vocal about condemning the war. And now they're tormenting him and depriving my father of any connection with the world in order to silence him. But my father is not afraid and will never stop fighting. Despite the inhumane conditions in which he's in, he continues to take every opportunity to express his anti-war positions. Alexei Navalny and his organization, the Anti-Corruption Foundation, will do everything possible in their power so that Russia can become a prosperous, democratic, and free state that lives in peace with neighbors and not threatens the use of nuclear weapons.
That video was released on the second anniversary of Navalny's return to Moscow from Germany, where he was treated after a plot to poison him with the nerve agent Novichok. It nearly cost him his life, and in jail today, fears are again growing for his safety. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, a helicopter crash outside of Kyiv has killed at least 16 people, including Ukraine's interior minister and 2 children. Thousands of nurses are on strike again in England over pay, causing disruption to health services. And India may have already overtaken China to become the world's most populous nation. That's the latest feature story news. Julia Chapman reporting.
Good morning. It's KCHW 102.7 getting started on a Wednesday with the one and only, oh man, he is like the tallest person I know, the one and only Mike Bentz.
Well, welcome to you from a snowy day.
Oh, I could see that on the camera at the airport there that you guys definitely got some snow coming down again.
Yep, we do. I don't know. We probably got an inch or so last night, and it's snowing as we speak. So, but it's that time of the year. We've had a dry run here for a little while. So
a little reprieve from the hard winter you guys have had.
Well, the nice thing is everything's kind of pristine and white right now.
All right.
So,
and then you get a little fresh snow and it covers up the dirty snow. That's always nice.
That's right. Now, if we can figure out a way that it goes from like a flash melt without flooding everything, so it goes immediately from white to green. Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be cool. All right, 38 for your high today. Light snow this morning, giving way to a mixture of rain and snow in the afternoon. You got a 95% chance of precip. Down to 85 tonight with snow in the evening, giving way to lingering snow showers late. So watch out for that on the roads. Be careful this morning. Thursday, 38 and 27 with morning clouds and afternoon sun. Oh. No, say it can't be true. All right, Friday, 33 and 26, cloudy skies. Saturday, 32 and 21 with snow showers. Sunday right now, 34 and 19 with partly cloudy skies. Almost kind of like the identical weather we're having here in Maine.
Well, aren't we at about the same latitude?
We are, totally. Let's see. For the kids today, it is breakfast pizza, a variety of cereal, fresh fruit, fruit juice, milk choice. All right, and then for
what's
lunch,
on breakfast? What's on breakfast pizza?
I imagine it's like eggs and sausage.
Oh, really?
I've never tried to make one, but I would take one.
Okay.
All right.
Somehow or another, that just doesn't fit.
It doesn't fit for you? All right.
Nah.
I hear it's pretty good. All right.
Okay.
Teriyaki dippers, potatoes, they're mashed, green beans, bread, carrots, fresh veggies, fresh fruit, and again, your milk choice there for lunch. That's your Wednesday at our Chewela area schools.
That's almost a gourmet lunch.
It is. Be for me anyways. All right. Before we go into our nonprofit roundup, could I do a few things to lighten the mood?
Absolutely. Then I have my dad jokes too.
Oh, good, because I've got some too.
Okay.
All right. First, though, a few tweets. These are supposed to be the best tweets of 2023 so far. I don't think so. Here's one. It says, one day a guy went onto my Instagram. This is a lady talking. And she said he liked all my photos. And then DM'd me saying, I then DM'd him. So direct message for you old people. Him saying, instead of doing all that with my pictures, why don't you just direct message me and tell me you like me? He responded by saying, I don't like you. I just like your content, and proceeded to block her. Oh. Ow.
Ouch. Yeah.
Oh. Here's another one. Says, this lady says, this guy at my gym has the biggest pecs I've ever seen. And today I overheard him ask Siri what 4 times 12 was. He's the perfect man.
Okay.
And then I like this one. If you have no hate in your heart, grow up and look around you. Definitely some hate out there. All right, dad jokes with Mike Benz.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Scott.
Yes.
Scott, why was Cinderella kicked off the football team?
Why?
She kept running away from the ball.
Oh. Or hold it.
Okay, so what kind of hair do oceans have?
What kind of hair?
Yeah.
I don't know. Herring?
Wavy.
Oh.
Okay, so do you want 2 more?
Yes, please.
Okay, all right. Why don't you ever see an elephant hiding in a tree?
I don't know.
Because they're really good at it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, then what happened to the cat after she ate the ball of wool?
I don't know.
She had mittens.
Wow.
Is that enough for today?
Sure. I think you've been eating too much Laffy Taffy. Mine aren't much better, though. All right.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. These are funny things Mike has said to me. First one, I haven't spoken to my wife in years. I haven't wanted to interrupt her. Oh, you're in so much trouble, Mike. Oh. All right. I stayed up one night playing poker with tarot cards. I got a full house and 4 people died. This one's my favorite phrase. I'm a man of my word, and that word is unreliable. Big families in Chihuahua are like waterbed stores. They used to be everywhere, and now they're just weird.
There's a lot of truth to that.
There is. We got some big families, and they all play musical instruments. All right.
You think about that. On Loretta's side of the family, her mom was the oldest of 13. Loretta was in a group of 9, and then we have 2.
A big slowdown, huh?
A big slowdown. Wow. And on my side of the family, it started out with 8 with my grandparents, and then it went to 6 with my parents, and then we're at 2. You know what that is?
What?
People moving off of the farm, so they didn't need all that free labor.
That's right. You needed that football team for farming. That's why my dad had such a huge family. Totally.
Exactly.
All right. These last couple directed at me. I found there was only one way for myself to look thin, and that was hanging out with more fat people. Oh, it's horrible.
I thought you were trimming down. You'd lost like 30 pounds
it's
or something.
Just a joke.
Oh, okay.
No, and it's not 30. It's only 11. But I'd like 30. All right, here we go. The last one. I went to a mind reader yesterday. Afterwards, he said he could only charge me half. Ooh, there you go. Dumb jokes to get you started this morning. Yeah, that's kind of sad when you go to a mind reader and he says, after you're done, I'm going to have to give you half off. All right, Mike.
You're on radio. There's nothing to read.
That's right. For some reason, once we went live, you got a little quieter, so make sure you're leaning up on that microphone.
I am, really?
Yeah. Huh. You were nice and loud when we were chatting before the show, but...
Okay.
All right.
Well, is that better?
No,
Really?
You could be just my big mouth.
That's right.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
It's that
right.
background noise. That's Mooch Susan.
Yes, the loud cat snores. All right, we always do on Wednesday. We start off the show with kind of the nonprofit roundup. These are some of the groups Mike's involved with, and you're always invited to submit your own on the morning show. A couple of ways you could do that. If you want to get it on today's show and your group has an event coming up, you can go ahead and go to our Facebook page and post right on the live feed for this video. Just go to Facebook and put in KCHW Radio or Northern Lights Public Radio, and we will show up. You can do the same thing at any time by going to our website at kchw.org and going to the Contact Us page, and there is a form right there you can fill out. You can even attach your flyer to that form, and then we'll always cover it on Wednesdays for you. But if you need something on today, feel free to use that Facebook page, and I will try very hard to remember to go back and check and see if anybody dropped anything in. Right now, Marion, they're saying good morning, guys. All right,
Good morning,
Michael.
Marion.
I will turn it over to you. Where are we starting today?
Okay, let's just start with the basic chamber before we move to Winterfest.
Okay.
The chamber itself, just to mark your calendar, the annual home show is going to be on March 25th, and it'll be at Guess Elementary. You can, believe that the application was, I know the application was sent into the school district last week, so the application for the home show should be coming out in the next couple of weeks. And that's always a good time. It's always a sellout. They fill that gym pretty easily, and then they've been spilling out into the lawn and things like that. So I always look at the home show as a place to get introduced to the local businesses. And it's the big boy toy store between, the Toyota dealership or Chevrolet dealership, and then Hartel's. It's a great place to go. Chamber bucks, keep those in mind. As always, they're a great way to reward people. They're a great way to give gifts where you don't know what to give the person. And 100% of all chamber bucks go back into the community. And there's, I believe, 40 or 41 businesses that accept them. So they're as good as cash.
Okay.
The banner contest, where the chamber's working with the Creative District and Downtown Strategies to put in the banners that go down 395 and up Main Street. Those are getting a little long in tooth, so we're replacing those. And we've got a contest going out right now to finish up actually on the 20th of any graphic designers, artists, or if you just happen to freelance and you want to put an application in, you can go to the chamber website and the chamber Facebook page or the creative Facebook page and get the application and get them submitted. And then we're going to take a look at them, narrow it down to 2 or 3, and then the committee will take a look at it to kind of pick one of them that works best for the city of Chewelah. And these banners are going to be a little bit unique because once they go up, they'll stay up. The ones that are up there, they rotate out twice a year. And these will go up and stay up, so it's a little bit more inclusive. I haven't seen any of the entries. I know there were at least a couple of them there a couple of weeks ago. So it'll have a surprise factor, and they will be available to take a look at the Winterfest, which is coming up February 4th. So I don't know where they'll be displayed yet, but we can announce that hopefully next week. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay. So if we move on, we can go to the Creative District. The Creative District has its first inaugural event. It's an art showing or an art gallery showing at the golf course on the 21st, coming up this Saturday from 2 to 6. The two things are happening. One is we have 13 local artists in there, and these are all juried, so they're all looked at. These are, it's nice and it's very eclectic. There's something in there pretty much for everybody. So we're encouraging people to come by. We're going to get a feel of how to do these at the golf course. The golf course has agreed or asked us to do maybe 2 or 3 a year. And so this is kind of our inaugural event, and it'll be inside. I do know that I was at a meeting last night and we have enough submissions. I tell people there'll be 96 feet of art. So, it'll be inside of the clubhouse, set up in 4 different sections. The artists are going to be there, or an artist representative will be there. We're not allowing them to hang it up and leave. So you'll have the ability to talk to the artist, And some of these are interpretative type art. So you want to talk to the artist and see what their vision was, that type of thing. So
Very cool.
And then the Rusty Putters going all out. They're going to create some drink specials with Tuloon's Distillery, which is, if you haven't been to Tuloon's, it's in Loon Lake, and they're a local distillery that does a phenomenal job. And then they're going to put together a appetizer plate for two that includes Swedish meatballs, barbecue meatballs, shrimp cocktail, caprese. I never get that word right. Little bread things and a dinner special. So,
All right.
So we're really looking at getting. There's a lot of press going around and a lot of people talking about it. I think it'd be a great turnoff, and it's supporting your local artist community, because these are all artists basically from Deer Lake to Kettle Falls that all belong to the Creative District. So effectively, if you see something and you want a little more background on the artist, if you go to the Creative District website and under the member directory, there's a write-up on each one of them. In fact, there's a case, KCHW is a member, so there's a write-up on KCHW in there. So, so really, really excited about that. And then just as far as the Creative District goes, it'll be involved with Winterfest. And when I get to Winterfest, I'll add that. And then on the 16th of February, we're going to do a gathering of artists, and it's kind of a thank you and showing people what's been accomplished over the last year, because a lot has. We start running that list out, it's unreal. And that'll be all at Quartzsite Brewery on the 16th of February from 6 till I believe 8 in the evening. But they're kind of a more to come type thing on that as we get a little bit closer.
Okay.
So let's move on to Winterfest. Winterfest is coming up on the 4th of February. It's from 10 to 6 p.m. It's going to be there, rain, wind, sign, snow, whatever. They are going to truck some snow in case for some reason or other we don't have enough snow for the events. And there's actually a couple of major events. One of them would be a skijoring.
I had to look that up.
Yeah.
When the announcement came through, I was like, what's skijoring?
It is, yeah. It's actually pretty cool. I have a cousin that in Montana that did that on the circuit for a lot of years before he became like me, old and feeble, and it beat him up pretty good. But there's going to be a demonstration on that, and they've got 49 Degrees North has their 5 best skiers going to be there, and then the Melody Riders are going to be there, from the horse side, and it's basically skiing behind an animal. In this particular case, it'll be behind horses. There's a track being built behind Mountain Market in that field behind there.
Wow.
And so I think, that'll be a great event to get people exposed. And frankly, I like the idea because if it works the way it should work, it should become a signature event in the winter. And it's very unique. To my knowledge, none of that's done in our area. I've never seen it in our area anyway. And then there'll be a rail jam sponsored by 49 Degrees North over at City Hall. And that's all there's a huge mountain of snow over there right now. So that'll be all set up and ran. There'll be a fair number of exhibitors and people coming out of Spokane to show what that is. And if you don't know what a rail jam is, my impression of it is it's snowboarders that do crazy things.
Yes, tricks on snowboards.
Exactly.
Think skateboard tricks.
Exactly. And so, and where the skateboard park is, that's being converted to an ice rink. And of course, that's just a factor of more than anything else, the weather, whether that'll work. So that if assuming that the skate rink is open for business, basically, show up with your skates and have a good time there. Then they're going to have all kinds of children activities in that lawn by City Hall, kind of between it and the church there. And so it's really designed to be a family-friendly all-day event for everybody. They're going to have vendors on Main Street. Main Street, I believe, will be closed during that 4-hour or during the I think from 12 to 6. And they'll have 2 tents set up, and you've got food vendors, you've got local vendors, And then you got the Creative District. The Creative District is going to open the Huff Cultural Center, and the Rusty Putter will be inside there offering free hot coffee, cocoa, and treats. So it's for kind of a warming thing. And then on the backside, the building, or inside the building, the Arts Guild's going to do their annual quilt fundraiser, where they do a community quilt where people come in and they kind of build it for them. They've got all the patches and they build it and then they sew it together. And then the Creative District is going to have a public mosaic that's going to be built. After the meeting last night, that was pretty well laid out. There'll be a background, kind of a picture with tiles, 4x4 tiles on the front. And then people will pick a tile and fill in the tile relative to what the picture's going to look like. So it'll be very, very, very Chewelah centric. And it's for all ages. Thank you to the Girl Scouts. We have the Girl Scouts that have volunteered to come in and help on that particular project. And it's going to be cool. Once it's all done, then it'll be mounted. So it's on a piece of board. It'll be on a board and then framed. And then the plan is to make it like a traveling exhibit. So it could be in the Huff Building for a period of time. It could be in City Hall for a period of time. It could be at Washington Federal for a period of time. Anywhere where the wall will be big enough, because it's going to be 4 feet by 4 feet.
Okay.
So it's going to be a pretty good sized piece. So we're really looking forward to doing that. And not to forget the chili cook-off. The chili cook-off will be in the afternoon inside the Civic Center. And then with Winterfest inside the Civic Center, they'll have live music. There'll be a beer garden in there. And then for in the evening, and then there'll be a beer garden in the afternoon at, I believe, the Skijoring event. So,
wow. Quite the undertaking again.
It's a huge undertaking. And just one of the things that we're missing is volunteers. Volunteers, this thing really will work with a good bunch of volunteers helping. So you can go on the Chewelah Festival for the Arts, or Chewelah Downtown Festival Association. You can go on their Facebook page and do all volunteers. And Michelle and Justin Schramm, Michelle Williams, and Justin Schramm, you can never have too many volunteers, if that makes sense. Okay,
this is true
on an event like this, and they'll do everything. They'll kind of put you where you need to be. If there's any training involved, that'll be taken care of. Oh, excuse me. I'm talking too much and not breathing enough.
Drink some coffee, Mike.
Drink some coffee, yeah. But yeah, there is a huge need for volunteers. And then, and just as a thank you on the front end, I'd like to thank the city of Chewelah, because they're doing a lot of the logistics stuff around this event. And then Westoff Excavation they're using their piston bully to do the track out there, and they've used a Bobcat to bring the snow in. And then one of our sponsors, Dawson Trucking, is graciously donating, I think, several dump trucks where they can bring snow down off the ski hill.
Wow.
So that we have fresh snow. So it's, I'm going to a meeting at 12 o'clock again, so I'll have more fresh information next week. But it's a big deal. It's a big event. It's going to become one of the signature events for Chewelah. And Downtown Strategies, that's broken into 4 teams, and one of the teams is events and promotions. And this is one of the events that's going to be recommended back to the city, the chamber, and the organizations to get behind on an annual basis. So,
I think, right now, if I'm looking at the extended forecast, and it looks like you guys will be fine. It runs up until February 1st. And if it holds true, which sometimes it doesn't, but right. It looks like you guys are going to be, let's see, Monday, the 30th of January, 27, Tuesday, 27, February 1st, 29. So even if it comes up a little bit from there, it looks like you've got a few days of snow at the end of January. So if that pattern holds true, you guys will be just fine with the amount of snow. So
yeah, well, and that's actually perfect temperatures. It's cold enough that it'll hold the snow, but it's warm enough that it's not uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So it's actually going to be perfect. But this is the first one, so you always learn. It's kind of like the Creative District with their art show. You always learn what you can do better and what you should have done or not done, things like that. So that's why we need great participation from volunteers and we need great participation from the public, is because ultimately, as we move forward, how the public receives it and we give input will determine how it's structured. So, and then, effectively what the Downtown Strategies Initiative does at least on the event and the tourism side is they recommended that we come up with 5 annual events that the community can get behind to effectively replace Chautauqua. And I think we're doing a pretty good job at that.
Oh yeah.
And frankly, it's actually more effective than Chautauqua because it's throughout the year. It isn't one big shot over 2 or 3 days. So it's more easily handled by the community as far as support services and infrastructure and things like that. And it brings in a different type of person for each event. So yeah, no, I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's going to be a phenomenal event. And then I always like to have a plug for the Chihuahua Center for the Arts. They're Nothing to Lose Singer Series was on the 13th last Friday, and I wasn't able to make it. I heard it was standing room only, and I talked to somebody last night that had been the first time they'd been there, and they said, man, the talent in this town is unreal.
Yeah, I've been blown away at the Singer Series. It's crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's another one of those coming up on the 24th of February. So as we get closer, we'll definitely, put that out there. But if you want to mark your calendar, it'll be on the 24th of February in the evening. And then, and the Park Avenue Players, the Love, Lies, and the Doctor's Dilemma, featuring our own Chuck Ritchie. Is, the play starts on February 3rd, and goes the 3rd and the 4th, and then the 10th and 11th. And then on Sunday, they have a matinee. So you can start getting your tickets now at all the usual suspects. You can get them online. You can get them at Acres. You can get them at Valley Drug, or if they're available at the door. But my experience is if you wait to get them at the door, you might be waiting too long. So, and then
I'm just going to say, if I got any friends out there listening today and you want to catch up with me, I'm going to the one on the 3rd. Opening night, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to be here, unfortunately, but you'll have to give us a report when we get back.
Yes.
And see what you said. So, and then we have the Park Avenue Players editions from 9 to 5. They'll be starting in the early part of March. And then the SpongeBob the Musical Youth Edition will be coming up at the end of March and early April. And they're hard at rehearsing at the moment to get that all put together.
Yeah, they just started that up on the 11th. So they're a few days into it. And then the last shout out is to Tim Nielsen at Trails and Gallery, the 4th annual Winter Force for the Arts. The juried exposition will start on February 2nd and run through April 8th. And the participating galleries are Trails and Gallery on the fine art side and McCunn Gallery on the photography exposition. So, all right. If you're going to keep coughing, I'm going to need you to put on your mask.
Well, I could think, why am I coughing? Maybe I'm not doing, my diaphragm isn't creating enough air.
Yes. It's that deep voice you're doing.
Is that what it is?
Sure,
okay.
I don't know.
Well, to move on. Well, yesterday my voice kept coming and going. So I kept thinking about that when I got up this morning. I wonder if it's going to do the same thing today.
It's that dry heat.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, is that enough?
That is a lot of. You cruised right through it today. I'm totally impressed.
I mean, it gets back when I hear people say there's nothing to do in Chihuahua.
They're not looking hard enough.
Get out from under that rock.
That's right.
And then and I don't think Omni Gaming is a sponsor, but I want to give them a shout out because they're changing that model over there to where you can do classes inside, tutoring inside. I see today they are offering digital golf. So we'll work on Justin to become a sponsor. How's that sound?
That sounds great. Yeah, digital golf. Is that like Wii Golf?
I have no idea.
All right. I hope it's better than Wii Golf. Although Wii Golf is fun.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen ones where it's basically a giant screen of the fairway, and when you
okay.
swing it, it matches your swing to it, much like it does probably in Wii Golf. But it's very very lifelike, where like Wii Golf is very cartoonish. So
Right. Right.
all
Yeah,
right,
okay.
let's move
All
along.
right.
If you're all done, we'll move along to some news headlines. A quick check of the Facebook feed. Let's see if anybody tried to promote their event on there. I don't see anything we missed. So there you go. Good job, Mike.
Okay, thanks.
All right, some good news in news headlines. Consumer prices fell for the first time in more than 2 years last month, providing optimism that sustained inflation that has plagued the U.S. economy may be finally easing. Costs were still up 6.5% in December compared with a year earlier, but as I said, they've went down. And that rate of increase has steadily declined now for 6 straight months after hitting a 4-decade high of inflation during the summer. So easing up a bit. President Biden said last week, we still have more work to do, though we are clearly moving in the right direction. There's more breathing room in store for American workers and family. Reducing inflation has been a top priority for economic policymakers since it became clear that prices would not drop on their own once the shock of the pandemic dissipated. Do you think that was gouging, Mike? Do you think that a lot of corporations went, okay, we have to raise our prices because of costs for shipping and stuff, but let's raise them a little extra and make some extra money on top of what we were making before? And now that things have eased, and gas prices have went down, especially like the gas prices. Oh, that's a great excuse to jack your prices up. It's taking more to get my supplies or my product out there, and then gas prices drop, but you never seem to see the prices drop along with that.
I'm sure there's a little bit of that, but I think most corporations that would do that, they'd get caught, and the downside risk of the bad press wouldn't be worth it.
Okay.
And part of the issue, at least in Washington, since you're not here, but, the state of Washington, the gas went up here at about a week ago, 40 cents a gallon, because they added a new tax. And so I think when people see that price at the pump, you really got to look at it and see where that money goes. I know that I've got a good friend of mine that has got a service station. He's got a couple of them actually, and he said the revenue on gas back to the retailer is somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 to 3 cents a gallon, or it used to be 2 to 3 cents a gallon. And in fact, if he didn't have the convenience store at one place and the mechanic shop in the other, he probably wouldn't afford to be able to stay in business, other than have it just like a 24-hour thing where there's no people there. So I think there's some of that, but I mean, there always is, regardless of where you're at. I mean, that's kind of a supply and demand thing too. You can always raise your prices when the supply is tight. But if you don't drop them when the supply comes down, then you're probably going to lose customers anyway.
I don't know if I totally agree with you on that, though, because let's take two giant companies, and just because it's easy, let's take like Post and Kellogg's. Okay,
Right.
and we talked about shrinkflation when this first happened, and we've been not noticing shrinkflation for years. I mean, take a box of Ritz crackers, and okay, the cracker's the same size, but look how they've changed the packaging to fool you, and it's gotten smaller and smaller and smaller. Not once have I ever seen when this happens, and I bet you we will not see it during the now that the pandemic's, hopefully getting over with, or we're not as worried about it, whatever
Right.
you want to say. I cannot see Post or Kellogg's or Nabisco going back to the packaging we used to have before. It's not going to happen. They are gouging the American consumer, in my opinion.
Well, I disagree.
You disagree, huh? You think how do you explain shrinkflation then? Because they're not going to make. I guarantee you, they are not going to make those packages better. The size of a cereal box has been getting thinner and thinner. Same size on the front, but
Yeah.
now it's down to 1.25 inches. They are not going to take that back to a 2-inch for a regular box of cereal.
Well, but I think you got to look beyond that. To begin with, is the weight the same? Because a lot of that packaging had a lot of dead air space in it. And so, to me, it's not the size of the box; it's what's in the box.
And I
So,
bet
and
you,
I
I
can't.
bet you money, Mike, it's less. I
Well,
bet you
that
the
I
weight
don't
is
know.
less.
Okay,
I'll
all
have to
right.
research
Well,
it.
that's your job for the next week, is to go out
I
and
got to
make
go
some
research
comparisons.
cereal. That
But
one's probably easy. You can probably Google it, and there's somebody out there tracking it. But and take cereal as an example. That's really a low cost thing to make, and how much they charge for it. And when you see it shrinking due to gas prices, and then when things stabilize, they're not making it bigger. They're still keeping it small. I don't know. I've got a problem with that. And
okay,
these
well,
are a
I
lot
think
of.
it's not as simple as that, because I think there's a chain of events behind that, anywhere from the producer to the transportation to the manufacturing costs. And all those costs kind of go through the system. And the one thing I will agree with you, if I have if I'm the producer and prices go up 10%, and I still need to make a profit, that profit's going to be based on that 10% increase. So that means it multiplies through the system. So every time there's a price increase, there's still a profit motive on top of it. And that's one of the reasons I think the end user sees the pricing the way it is. But and then part of it is competition. I think I will agree that in our world today, the conglomerates are getting bigger, and the bigger they get, the less price competition they have. I mean, that's an old issue, clear back when the monopolies happened. I mean, years ago, and Congress came in and started breaking up those big conglomerations. And I think at some point in time, you're probably going to see a little bit of that. It's going to be harder and harder to do that, at least without full transparency.
Well, and especially like the food companies like Monsanto and ConAgra. I
Yeah.
mean, they've gobbled up everything, and it sure looks like it's already a monopoly.
Yeah, and that's the merge thing, or the buyout thing's been going on for years. And that's, in fact, I was watching a series on the History Channel the other day talking about, I think it was Post or Kellogg, one of the two, and their growth has come from acquiring other companies, not necessarily growing from within, because frankly, it's cheaper to do that. And so, and you want to diversify your product base, so you're not just so focused in on one thing, because the economy goes up and down different at different rates for different types of products and services. So, but you know, there is no easy answer for it. I mean, ultimately, other than to restrict the monopoly thing. I mean, it's kind of like the radio station. You couldn't have two radio stations in Chihuahua, could you?
Yes, it could.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so it used to be you could only own a AM, FM, and a TV in a market, so you could have three.
Okay.
Then, I think it was the end of Reagan's presidency, he deregulated radio, so you could own. In my opinion, this is the worst thing ever to happen to radio broadcasting. You could own whatever you wanted. As an example of how tight government restrictions were, you could not own a radio station and a newspaper. Years ago, when they made that law, I believe it was Q6 had to sell. They had to, because
Okay.
they were tied to one of the Spokane. Does Spokane still have two newspapers, or have they conglomerated into? They used to have two
Right.
years ago.
Right.
So I'm not sure what's happened there, but the company had to sell either the newspaper or the television and radio stations, and they sold the television and radio stations because I guess at that time maybe newspaper was making bigger money. And what you saw then was, and literally, because I was working in the industry when this happened, is in Spokane, for example, in one day, so the next day after deregulation, the company I worked for, I think, had 7 radio stations. 6 general managers lost their jobs,
Yeah.
and all
Yeah.
that
That's
work
what happens.
all that work from those other 6 general managers got laid on the one general manager. DJs had to start, pulling duties at other stations and stuff instead of just working your 8 hours here, and usually you have some. A job besides your on-air show that you have to do. It got all of a sudden now you're hopping on over to the AM station and doing programming there and stuff. So your workload doubled or tripled or more. And this, I mean, it was like in a period of 24 hours, everybody in the Spokane radio industry was like, Wow. No raise, 3 times the work. And that's literally what happened. And across America, general managers just because all of a sudden you could be a group of 6 or 7 or more. And really, Spokane Radio is owned by basically 3 groups. And that could have changed since I lived there. There's few independents like Thin Air Radio, which would be a sister station to KCHW, the exact same kind of license and stuff.
Right.
And in fact, I'll just be honest here with me leaving the radio station and the potential problems and stuff. I reached out to them that if we got in trouble, would they be interested in taking it over? Because it's one of the few choices we'd have on in our area of a station that is big enough that could absorb another public radio station. And you can own, as I was just pointing out, more than
Right.
one. 3 companies in Spokane. 2 of them are nationwide. Well, actually, Clear Channel's global, and that's and that's in my opinion too. Clear Channel ruined radio for the announcers, and pay. And then you have the KXOY group, which is, I believe, around 7 stations, and then the TV side of that too. And I spent 8 years working for them at KXOY. So.
Yeah, and I think that's in all industries. The industry I was at, the position I had when I retired, at one point there were 22 of us nationwide, and by the time I retired, there was 8. And those 8 still had to cover the same amount
Of work.
of territory and work of the 22. And so it got to the point, in my particular case, I was responsible for 59 different locations in 5 states. And at the end, when I retired, I still had to, because the regulators, for that industry still required you had to do in-office visits at that point. So I had to visit each office once a quarter, all 559 of them. And just logistically, it became a nightmare, especially once the airline slowed down in 2011, 2012, and everything kind of slowed down right there because, I went from being on the road 4 days a week to being on the road 6 days a week just so I could get home.
Sure.
And
Yuck.
so, and we can get off topic, but my theory on this is once the accountants and the attorney take over the running of a business, things go to hell in a handbasket.
True.
That I would defy anybody to argue with me on that. on the receiving end, on the public end. So.
Mm-hmm. All right, skipping to, by the way, it's KCHW Chweela looking at 8:03. Skipping to some tech news. Our researchers in Drexel University's College of Engineering have developed a thin film device fabricated by a spray coating called MXenes. MXenes can coat electronic devices and mask their radiation signature. So what this means is all you people that are scared of 5G, or scared of what's coming out of your cell phone. So when you are not using it, it would not be penetrating you with radiation. So they think this is a novel new invention. And it's going to be some kind of spray coating, and they'll be able to use it in electronics. Talking to a friend a few days ago about 5G, and I always liked it for people that are still scared of that kind of stuff. I was just, I laughed at 5G because our tower up on top of the mountain and every other radio tower in the country is blanketing their cities with 24G. So stop worrying about 5G.
Yeah, you're going to be glowing in the dark anyway.
Yes. All right. But, it could be, there is stories. I think if there was research, the electronic companies try to debunk it as fast as it would come out, if anything's unhealthy. But there are a lot of people conserved about that, believe that it causes them, Wi-Fi in a house can cause them headaches and all sorts of stuff. So there might be some options. Instead of wearing the tinfoil hat, you could wear a plastic hat and have that all blocked from your brain. So.
So as you're going through this, I come up with a quote that I was told long time ago: never underestimate the power of capitalism to come up with a new mousetrap.
That's right. Perfect. World's oldest known person, a French nun, Lucille Randon, passed away yesterday at 100 118 years old.
Really?
Yes, 118.
So what's the oldest anybody's lived in your family?
Oh, man. Oh, my mom.
Okay.
My mom at 91.
91?
So, 91.
See, mine's my grandmother at 105. And then a great aunt at 103 on Loretta's side. I mean, and those people were fun to talk to because of their perception through that period of time of what they had to live through relative to what it is today. I mean, just think of your life, what's changed in the 50 some odd years you've been around.
Yep. Well,
think about that for double that amount of time.
I'm worried because now my dad lived into his early 80s, but men on my side of the family, for example, my brother passed away at 58. 63 to 65 seems like, a lot of them pass away then.
Right.
I'm being more proactive about my health than maybe they were because they were old school. Technologies came a long way since then, but it's still kind of concerning when you've got that kind of family lineage. And if you look at the screen, I could disappear any moment. But
so now we're doing the paranormal. We're visiting with
just
Scott
like that, I could
beyond.
come back to haunt you too. So there you go. All right, on
You got
to
the power.
yes. On to the Netherlands. Prime Minister Mark Rutte said Tuesday, or it might be Rutte, or it could be Rutte, Tuesday that his country plans to join the U.S. and German efforts to train and arm Ukraine with advanced Patriot defense systems, and has signaled they are sending another one, which should help them with the ballistic missiles now that Russia's using, because they don't have anything to stop them. So that we really need to get these to Ukraine like yesterday. So I don't know how fast it'll go, but they definitely need this because Russia's upped the game with these ballistic missiles. They did have a comment, though, they must not have a lot of them because these looked really old.
Well, I think I read where they're Cold War era.
Yep.
Which would be back in the early 60s.
Well.
All
right. All right, and if you want some
missiles
fun...
were before Scott was born.
Yes. If you want some fun reading today, they have released the transcripts of Donald Trump's deposition in his rape trial, and I'm just going to say I read it this morning. It's juicy. It's juicy like all Trump stuff. Juicy.
Okay.
And according to one of the attorney's quotes, it says, "Wow, did he really bury himself?" Uh-huh. All right, before we go to break, let's do some trivia with Mike.
Ooh.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Today it's Bency. Well, that's what I call him when nobody's around.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
Oh, here we go. Average adult male loses 1 pound of what each year?
Hair.
I will take that. They're looking for beard through shaving, but I will take that is hair, even though it's an itchy form of hair. All right. 40% of dog owners are not comfortable with our dogs doing this.
You said 4%?
40% of dog owners are not comfortable with our dogs doing this, and I think they all try to do it.
Well, I would say barking.
No.
Breeding.
No. You made me giggle.
Shedding.
What?
Shedding.
Shedding? No, this is an activity or an action that they do while you're doing something.
Eating.
Close. Okay, so you're not close as in the location, but in them watching you eat. Now, so what else do they watch you do?
Go to the bathroom.
All right, a riddle. These are always tough. All right, so you got to listen close. I am usually colorful, and my sound echoes throughout the pitch black night. On a few special occasions every year, I am let off for people to come and see. What am I?
Fireworks.
Woo! 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 Woo!
You can do it!
You've done a lot of traveling. I think this will be easy for you. Just give me 5 answers in 15 seconds. I want you to name 5 dream vacations. Go.
Barcelona. Starting now?
Yeah.
You broke up. Okay.
Yes.
Barcelona, Beijing, Dublin, Portugal, Cabo San Lucas.
Wow, it's way too easy for you. It's so unfair. All right. There are more of these in Kentucky, Indiana, and Tennessee than in any other state. Connecticut has the fewest, and this means you're going to die sooner than someone else. More of these in Kentucky, Indiana, and Tennessee than any other state. They're doing something that shortens their lifespan.
Smoking.
Smoking is it. An estimated 1 trillion of these are sold around the world each year.
Trillion with a T?
Yes. And more would be sold in, this is going to make it really easy, Kentucky, Indiana, and Tennessee.
Cigarettes?
Yeah. And average person does this about 15 times a day.
Passes gas.
Other end.
The burps.
Yeah. I'm going to give you part of a movie title. You mess it up by filling in the blank with the wrong word. Oh, this is going to be tough. All right.
Okay.
A blank is born.
A Scot is born.
Oh, you only want one of those. Mary Poppins blank.
Beer.
Ralph breaks the
Car.
a blank place.
A haunted place.
And Jurassic blank Fallen Kingdom.
Traffic mouse.
Ooh, that sounds not scary at all. Oh, you're almost done, Mike. On average, Americans throw away 20,000 of these electronic items each day.
Computers.
No, sir.
Phones.
Bigger.
iPads.
Bigger.
TVs.
Yes, there you go. 70% of parents think it's easy to do this, but 80% do it incorrectly. Something that happens in a car.
In a car?
Yeah, 70% of parents think it's easy to do this, but 80 do it incorrectly.
Back up.
No, sir. It's something in the car.
Something in the car. Tune the radio?
No, you would not have this in your car right now.
Smoke?
No, looking for a child car seat. 70% of parents think it's easy to do, but 80% are doing it incorrectly.
Oh,
with the
okay.
way
I would agree with that. Yeah. No. Have you ever tried to put a car seat in a car?
Yes. I've had two children.
Especially the newer ones. The older ones were easy.
Yeah.
But the newer ones,
they got all sorts of safety hooks and straps and yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I probably spent 20 minutes trying to figure out how to put a booster seat in my car for one of my granddaughters. I mean, it was...
Give me the directions,
just
right?
don't strap a seatbelt across it anymore.
All right, on to bits and breaks today before we go to break. I think, I just don't feel classless as I usually do today. I'm going to skip the one about workplace bathrooms. and the health benefits of passing gas with 4 things you didn't know yesterday. At age 14, actor Tom Cruise enrolled in seminary school to become a priest. He dropped out at age 15.
I actually knew that.
Did you? Wow.
Yeah.
Clocks made before 1687 only had this.
An hour hand.
Yes. Wow. Wow. So, how many clocks did you have in your house in 1687? It was horrible.
We had a sundial.
Average person walks 100,000 miles by the time they reach the age of... Just a guess.
70.
85. You'll watch.
Oh.
Yeah, some people might beat that. 80% of American men say they would marry the same woman if they have to do it all over again. 50% of women say they would marry the same man. So 80% of men are happy, 50% of women are happy. Isn't that typical? See, you know, when a guy says women are never happy, he's kind of telling the truth. And on that note, let's go to break before somebody throws something at me. All right. When we come back, a little history. We'll have celebrity birthdays, odd news, and a little bit more, but you've got to stay right here. It's Northern Lights Public Radio, and we are KCHW 102.7. Back in 5 or 6.
Okay.
Possibly 7.
My dear guests, I am Mr. Rourke, your host. Welcome to Fantasy Island.
That makes you look like an idiot.
It's 8:17.
Your KCHW morning show is made possible by donations from Chihuahua Flooring. Chihuahua Flooring at 214 East Clay in the 3rd Street Mall offers a wide variety of products, including carpet, ceramic and porcelain tile, vinyl and laminate planks, and vinyl sheet flooring. Chihuahua Flooring carries products for both commercial businesses and residential homes, including brands like Southwind, Deltile, Mannington, and Mohawk. For more information, you can visit online at chihuahuaflooring.com. Call 509-935-8021 or via email through chihuahuaflooring@gmail.com.
Your KCHW morning show made possible by a donation from God-Fearing Brothers Auto Center. God-Fearing Brothers specializes in auto services, including repair, maintenance, and detailing. They also stock a full selection of tires, make glass repairs, offer towing, and have an auto sales lot on the corner of Highway 395 and Main Street at the light. For more information, you can visit the Auto Service Center at 806 East Main in Chihuahua. Find them online at godfearingbrothers.com or by phone at 509-935-6414. KCHW-FM thanks God-Fearing Brothers for supporting public radio in Stevens County.
Picture this. It's January 2022. Your New Year's resolution is to get healthier, but you don't know where to start and you keep putting it off. Next thing you know, it's January 2023. Where did the last year go? You decide this is the year you are really going to prioritize your health. But once again, you just don't know where to start. Let New Health help. New Health is committed to promoting health and wellness within our communities by providing integrated, open access healthcare for all. From your medical, dental, pharmacy, or behavioral health needs, we have what you need to get started, and we will be with you every step of the way as you move through your healthcare journey. Contact us today at 509-935-6004. New Health, celebrating 45 years of bringing healthcare into communities and communities into healthcare.
This is KCHW, Chihuahua, 102.7 FM.
You're listening to 102.7 KCHW, Chihuahua.
Public News Service Daily Newscast for January 18th, 2023. I'm Mike Moen. The weather has calmed in California, but there are reports of extensive damage after periods of rain, wind, and surf flooded homes, highways, and farm fields, collapsed hillsides, and toppled countless trees. A state official tells the Associated Press tallying the damage will take time, but the number of homes and other structures that will be tagged as uninhabitable could be in the low thousands. The damage is spread across 41 of California's 58 counties. President Joe Biden is planned to travel to California's Central Coast on Thursday to visit areas that have been devastated by the extreme weather. Meanwhile, in Arizona, drought conditions are improving there. Arizona state climatologist Aranon Safal says it's important to note that Arizona evaluates short-term and long-term drought, both of which have recently improved. Safal says that when looking at short-term drought, things like precipitation, soil moisture, and vegetation are essential in understanding the impacts. For long-term drought, there's evaluation of precipitation trends while also incorporating things like temperatures and essentially looking at how thirsty the atmosphere is.
Both of those give us a sense as to where we are. We've seen improvement with the short-term drought and the long-term drought, but some areas of the state remain entrenched in that drought.
Safal says the last time these conditions were seen in Arizona was more than 2 years ago. Says a state that values water as much as Arizona should be happy to see these current levels. Turning to the mental health crisis, much of the nation is seeing a shortage of care providers. A new report says there are steps Congress and other decision makers can take to help states close gaps within the behavioral health workforce. The Bipartisan Policy Center is out with recommendations it feels can help address the growing demand for mental health services amid a shortage of licensed providers. The center's Kendall Strong says one solution is to enhance the role of those with mental health training who don't have the full credentials. She says behavioral health support specialists are certainly up to the task.
These people are underutilized and they have a lot to offer because part of the folks that we're talking about are folks like peer support specialists who have lived experiences and can really connect with folks who are struggling. Many times folks don't necessarily need to see a psychiatrist, say to that level, but still need some care.
Others in this group are community health workers and paraprofessionals. The report recommends reducing barriers for these individuals to take on bigger roles in behavioral health. That includes adopting a certification framework that promotes flexibility but still protects patients. Strong acknowledges a divided Congress might provide obstacles, but adds there's optimism with both parties recognizing the provider shortage. This is Public News Service. The World Health Organization has appealed to China to keep releasing information about its wave of COVID-19 infections. That's after the government announced nearly 60,000 deaths over the past month, following weeks of complaints it was failing to tell the world what was happening. China's weekend announcement was the first official death toll since the ruling Communist Party abruptly dropped antivirus restrictions in December, despite a surge in infections that flooded hospitals. That left the WHO and other governments appealing for information, while the U.S., South Korea, and others imposed controls on visitors from China. Looking at the economic fallout from the pandemic, the report says the rich got richer, but workers were left behind. Eric Galatis has more.
The world's richest 1% took home almost twice as much wealth as the bottom 99% combined during the pandemic, according to a new Oxfam International report. Morris Pearl with the group Patriotic Millionaires says current tax codes are not cutting it anymore. The rich keep getting richer while people who work for a living are making daily sacrifices on essentials such as food, which is not good for families or for investors who want to make money.
Because money does not trickle down. Money trickles up. As people pay their bills for their iPhone and their rent every single month, that is how rich people make money and get richer. And if people don't have enough money to do that, that's not good for any of us.
The report says a 5% tax on the world's multimillionaires could raise enough money to lift 2 billion people out of poverty. Wyoming tax codes are pointed in the opposite direction. The state does not tax corporate or individual income. Wyoming has a higher sales tax, which falls hardest on low-wage earners than at least 40 other states. Only 11 states collect lower property taxes. I'm Eric Galatis.
The proposed merger between the Idaho-based grocery chain Albertsons and Kroger has antitrust laws in the spotlight. The supermarket companies are the two largest in the country. Announced back in October, the merger has been under intense scrutiny. Stacy Mitchell of the Institute for Local Self-Reliance says the grocery industry is already consolidated, and that hurts workers, small businesses, and consumers.
We've seen food production workers and farmers getting paid less for food, and we've seen consumers paying more for groceries. And what's happening is that you've got a small number of companies in the middle, the middlemen, including the supermarket chains, who are absorbing more and more of that spending for themselves.
Mitchell notes that since the announcement of the merger, Congress has enacted what she calls the most significant antitrust legislation in 50 years. The Merger Filing Fee Modernization Act was passed in the government spending package in December. It lowers fees on smaller acquisitions and increases them for the largest mergers, raising more money for Congress to use to fund antitrust enforcement. I'm Mike Moen for Public News Service, member and listener supported and online. Find our trust indicators at publicnewsservice.org.
KCHW is online at kchw.org. Listen to the live stream, find out about station events, memberships, local weather, and volunteering. You're listening to KCHW 102.7.
And we're back. Show on Northern Lights Public Radio. Scott Allen and Mike Benson. Mike, you get to kick things off with some celebrity birthdays for us this morning. You ready for that?
I do, and at least the top 4 I know.
Well, good for you.
That means they're old or older.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's start out with Mr. Wonderful himself. Kevin Costner's at 68.
Wow. I feel good. That makes me feel good.
Yeah, actually, I didn't think he was that old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Have you watched any of the Yellowstone or whatever those are?
I haven't attempted that yet. I have to be in the mood for anything that's like Western or ancient times.
See, I haven't watched it at all, so I have no idea. But anyway, comedian Dave Attell is 58.
Those are strong. That's a strong word to put in front of his name. Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, if you don't shape up, I'm going to send actor wrestler David Bautista.
Oh, he's awesome.
See you.
He's awesome. I love him in the Marvel movies, the Guardians of the Galaxy. He gets some great lines. And he is actually I'd put comedian in front of his name. He's a funny guy.
Yeah, I read an article on him. He's actually a pretty quality guy.
All right.
He really kind of pulled himself up from the bootstraps and made what he is today.
Excellent.
Does a lot of community service type stuff. And I mean, it was a really great article on him.
Okay.
And actually one of my favorite actors, I think he's a great actor, Jesse L. Martin is 54.
All right.
And then beyond this, I have no idea. Jason Segel from How I Met Your Mother and Freaks and Geeks is 43. Ashley Murray is 35. And I love this name. Zico Zaki is 33.
Okay. From FBI and 24 Legacy. All right. It happened today. We like to call it history here at KCHW. We're going to start off in 1964 when plans were revealed for the World Trade Center in New York City. On to 1993, for the first time, the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday was officially observed in all 50 states. 1996, Australian scientists who claimed to have contacted life on other planets stumbled on the real source of the signal, a microwave oven in the kitchen of their laboratory.
It sure wasn't 5G.
Yeah, it was 5G. I'm sure it was. All right, so I watched a documentary on Netflix about Tesla, and in his later years, he was claiming to be using his equipment to talk to Martians.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
I saw that pop up. I didn't watch that. I might have to watch that.
He if you watch it, he went all kinds of Elon Musk. And I just got to say, because I try to keep up on news headlines for the show. I am so sick of opening up any news website and having 3 stories of Elon Musk. Can we just stop talking about this guy? Maybe he'll go away.
I kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, crazy only goes so far.
Yeah, he's definitely, I think, wearing out his welcome on society. Successfully turning himself into a really long, bad joke. Okay. Just my opinion, though, for all you Musk lovers. 96, as in 1996, after 20 months of marriage, Lisa Marie Presley filed for divorce from Michael Jackson on this day. And she was married to Nicolas Cage, too. So she liked the weirdies. Wow. 2008 in Berlin, Germany, a burglar broke into an apartment to rob it. But when he got inside, he found something completely unexpected, a body. Burglar called police from within the apartment, hung up, and left. Officers discovered 64-year-old resident passed away in his bedroom. The man had passed away 2 weeks earlier. All right. In 2018, the first drone rescue of swimmers was used by lifeguards in New South Wales, Australia. If they were sending a drone for me, it'd have to be a really big one. Call in the large drone. All right, here we go. Special events for today with Mike Bentz.
Okay, well, the first one is Museum Selfie Day.
All right.
So you've got all those, you've probably got all kinds of little mini museums around.
I do. In fact, on my Facebook page, there's a picture from the Cryptozoology Museum, which is like the Bigfoot Museum.
Right.
And I've got a great shot of me looking scared with the the beast from 20,000 Leagues, or I don't know. It's the Squid Man. I don't know. He looks like the Fish Man thing. I can't remember which movie that was from in the 60s, but he's behind me and I look scared.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, okay. Well, then we move on to Gourmet Coffee Day. I remember years ago I was at a meeting in Seattle, and the president of the company I worked for was there, and Starbucks had just opened up their store downtown Seattle. And I remember him coming, he's on the podium, he's making this speech, he says, "Who in the hell would ever pay $4 a cup for coffee?"
Pretty much everyone.
Pretty much everybody, yeah.
All right. So Nescafe, does that qualify as gourmet? Probably not.
Well, as long as it's flavored.
It's not.
Oh.
Instant coffee, yeah.
Well, you can have Nescafe and then put a little rum in it or whiskey in it,
and now it's gourmet. So I didn't know
gourmet.
Oh man, they should start doing that at Starbucks.
That's right.
I paid $8 for this coffee. Yeah. All right, what else?
It's top shelf.
Yeah, top shelf coffee.
Okay, then next we have Peking Duck Day. Do you know what a Peking duck is?
It's one that is hiding and then looks out briefly. It's a Peking duck.
Well, you didn't help me out a lot there.
No. I've eaten a lot of Chinese food, but I've never ordered the Peking duck.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is.
Actually, maybe
it's orange chicken peeking around the corner.
It could be. Could be. All right. Or maybe it's canary.
Then we go to, if you're bored and have nothing else to do, or you want to go to sleep day, Thesaurus Day.
Oh, yeah. I like to sit in the airport and read a thesaurus so I look smart.
Pardon me, I'm looking up an alternative word.
For the way you're dressed.
The way you're dressed. Okay, and then the last one is probably your favorite day.
Yeah.
Winnie the Pooh Day.
Yeah, probably not. The only thing me and Winnie the Pooh have in common is our love of honey and our bellies.
I was going to say your belly.
All right. Number for the day is 200, and that's the number of colds the average person suffers through during their lifetime. 200. Yuck. It's horrible. All right. I'm really excited. News and nuggets today. These are stories on the lighter side. GM has unveiled, its fastest Corvette yet. 0 to 60 in, guess, Mike, how fast do you think it's going to go 0 to 60? Unless you've already seen it.
2.5 seconds.
You're right, 2.5 seconds. Wow.
I actually read about this yesterday.
Could you imagine the G-forces? Your skin's going to be flapping on your cheeks and going,
your cheeks are flapping. Your teeth are out. Your lips are pushed back.
Wow.
In my case, you have no hair, so it's just shining up the top.
My hair's blowing back, but no one can see it. All right. 70th anniversary of when the Corvette was unveiled to the public. GM introduced its last version yesterday. The E-Ray hit some notable milestones. A hybrid. The E-Ray is gas-electric hybrid, a first for the model. It's like a Toyota Prius in that the battery doesn't need to be manually charged. Instead, the battery charges when the car slows or brakes. The battery also powers the front wheels. Side note, In science class in high school, I asked because something came up with the subject of electric cars. So this is back in the early '80s, but there was an electric car, wasn't very efficient or didn't hold a charge for very long. But I asked the question of why the electric car couldn't self-generate its own power by the wheels spinning, and the science teacher made fun of me. Kind of chastised for me for, even suggesting it. And here they go. 2024, your brakes are charging the car. Look at that.
You were just ahead of your time.
I guess. Battery powers the front wheels on that Corvette. It's the fastest. The E-Ray is the fastest version of Corvette yet. 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds and a quarter mile in 10.5 seconds. The car still has the model's traditional 6.2-liter V8 engine. All right. All-wheel, the new model is the first all-wheel drive Corvette. E-Ray starts at just $104,000. Convertible version, $111,000. I'm saving. I'm expected to have enough money in the bank by 3024.
Yeah, good luck finding one at $104,000.
Yeah.
That additional dealer markup thing.
Yeah.
In fact, I think the article I read is once the order book opens on these, they figure it'll be completely sold out within like 24 hours.
Wow.
Because they're not really a limited production vehicle because it looks like they'll continue it, but it'll be a very limited production early on. And $104,000 doesn't include seats, steering wheel, or tires.
I always wanted a Corvette, and one day I decided I could buy a used one, for about $5,000. So I started looking for some old ones, and all it took me, my whole life I was like, I always wanted a Corvette, and all it took to ruin that was driving one. I drove it and I went, that's the worst handling car I've ever been in. That literally, and the cab is so compact on those. I could not ride in it without the top off, because the minute I crawled in, it was early spring, so it was cold out. The minute I hopped in the driver's seat and shut the door, I started having an anxiety attack, like I just put in a can of sardines or something like that. Not fun at all. All right, enough about Corvettes. On to Michigan with Mike.
Okay, well, let's talk about lotteries.
Okay.
I was giving you a bad time because the lottery ticket was, purchased for the $1.3 billion in Maine.
You were not the only person to text me and say, was it you?
Yeah, and you didn't even play.
Yeah, I was like, I wouldn't be responding to this message if it was me. I'd already be gone.
And it was actually purchased in a little tiny store in a little tiny town.
Yes, in Lebanon, Maine. Which is not nearly as dangerous as the actual Lebanon.
Okay, well, let's go to Michigan.
Okay.
In Michigan, a man who couldn't remember if he'd already purchased a lottery ticket ended up with 2 identical tickets. So he won 2 jackpots.
Oh, crazy.
The man told the Michigan lottery officials he was at a gas station when he couldn't remember if he'd already had a ticket in December 17th Fantasy 5 drawing. Because of that, he purchased 2 tickets, and the guy won 2 $55,000 lottery tickets.
All right. Good for him.
Yeah. Well, even on that ticket in Maine, there was like 12 or $17 million winners.
Wow. But imagine just one with the grand prize. Because if you won that grand prize, you had to, share it with like 20 people, that'd like really take your wind out of your sails.
Yeah, but it cash out was $765 million.
Yeah. I only got 100 million because I had to share with it.
Cry me a river.
Yeah. All right. Side note on that one, there was no winner on the Monday Powerball drawing, so tonight's is worth $439 million. You'll get a little more than half of that if you take the payout.
Yeah, minus taxes.
All right. Another short story here. Nude recreation, also known as naturism, is growing industry in Florida. According to a recent article, it generates over $4 billion per year in revenue. I don't care because no one wants to see nude people in Florida. It's all old people. No one wants to see that. What are you guys doing? Yuck.
Okay, well, as long as we're talking about Florida, let's go to the zoo.
Okay.
The Toronto Zoo has launched a new campaign called Name a Cockroach.
Woo!
That allows people to name a cockroach after their ex or their boss. The campaign is part of the zoo's efforts to raise funds for its conservation education programs. For only a $10 donation, participants can submit the name of an ex or boss, and the zoo will name a cockroach after them.
Cool.
And cockroaches live like 5,000 years too, right?
Yeah, and can withstand a nuclear holocaust.
Exactly. So the campaign is met with mixed reactions. Some people finding it amusing and others criticizing it for being in very poor taste. The zoo emphasized that the campaign is not meant to be taken seriously, and it's simply a fun way to raise funds for their programs.
I'm totally okay with that because, I can be a little crass anyway. So I'm getting 2 because I don't think it's right to have one cockroach by itself,
Right.
So I'm getting 2, and I'm going to name them Musk and Trump. Because they're the 2 people on the planet that irritate me the most. All right.
Okay.
Just saying. All right. World's largest aircraft completes a record-break 6-hour test flight. This plane scares me. It's the world's largest aircraft. It's called the Airlander 10. Has successfully completed a 6-hour test flight. This is a hybrid airship, Mike, which is part a plane and part airship, like the Hindenburg.
Right.
Okay. It took off from Cardington Airfield in Bedfordshire, England, reached a maximum altitude of 4,000 feet during the flight. Airlander 10 is 302 feet long, making it longer than the biggest passenger jet. It is also 50 feet longer than the biggest airship ever built, the Hindenburg. Airlander 10 is powered by 4 engines and can stay in the air for up to 5 days at a time. It can also carry a payload of up to 10 tons. Wow. I heard they were trying to make a comeback of airships. That's kind of cool.
Airships. Yeah, they actually are.
It's kind of cool.
Actually, I saw a Discovery Channel or something on the airships that are being built that are aluminum, a real thin aluminum. So,
wow.
And they're great for moving cargo.
Wow.
So, anyway. They're
lighter
like
than air
me.
travel. Kind of like you, but you don't float?
That's right.
All
I
right.
was thinking more like a blimp.
Let's go. Let's jump down to the last story, and then we'll head for odd news. Skip the bizarre death because that's not even any fun.
And the wash your new bedding.
Yeah. It just says wash your new sheets because they have chemicals on them. If you didn't know that already, you should have. Don't wear any new clothes. Yeah.
So we want to go to the Eagle.
Yes, this is a cute story.
Okay. All right. Okay. So the Eagle is like KCHW 102.7.
Okay.
Regal, all-encompassing, respected.
Float unless I'm on the air.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Ratings go down.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, photographer Matthew Wood was using a drone to take an aerial photo of the scenery in Pioneer Valley in Queensland, Australia. The only clue Wood was, I'll get it out. He lost control of the device when an eagle plucked his drone from the sky. Yeah, I could see that. Couldn't you see that?
I've seen it.
The only clue Wood has about what happened to it before it vanished was forever is a 1-second selfie of an eagle staring straight down the camera at him. When the eagle flew off, Wood says he jumped on his motorcycle. He was able to pick up the GPS signal. However, the drone appeared to be in a heavily grassed area or high in a tree, and he was unable to retrieve it.
I don't know if this is the video that I saw online, but it was awesome, and you see the eagle coming in with its talons out, and then all of a sudden it's like no picture. He was probably disappointed in his snack, though. All right, looking at 8:45 and wrapping up the show with the odd news.
Slap some bacon on a biscuit and let's go. We're burning daylight.
It's the world of strange. A world gone wacky.
Out here, due process is a bullet.
And some of the scariest people on the planet.
I think you're bluffing.
Be afraid.
You know, you look mighty pretty when you get mad.
It's your odd news on KCHW.
Just sit back and enjoy the show.
All right, it's time for the news attack. Painfully easy to enjoy. First part's true, second part, really bad joke. And here comes Mike Bentz.
Except my screen just went blank.
Oh, do you need some help?
Give me a minute.
I can roll.
I don't know why.
Oh. That's
okay. Now I'm back.
Okay, good, good.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, the El Nino climate phenomenon would make 2024 one of the hottest years ever.
Yuck.
Also, in 2024, we have the U.S. election, a total solar eclipse, and a comet that could break apart because of gravitational forces. So, yeah, get your disaster bingo cards ready.
We could have went back to 2020 with that. Disaster bingo cards. That would have sold like crazy. Oh.
Really? I didn't know there was such a thing.
I don't know. We should make it, though.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Study says being happy doesn't increase your length of your life. And that makes me so sad. But I guess it doesn't really matter, does it?
Hey, Scott, did you know GM's making a new Corvette?
I hadn't heard that.
Ah, yeah. You know, it can go from 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds.
I like it.
Which means if you own one, you'll get to the next stoplight faster than me. Congrats.
Even in your race truck. All right. Yeah, if you haven't heard, new Corvette goes from 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. But does it have enough cup holders? Probably not.
This is in the who is this per category.
Okay.
Madonna's going on a world tour.
Who?
Well, it's sponsored by Icy Hot. I can take that 14 different directions. But this is a PG-rated show.
All right. With the election almost 2 years away, Donald Trump will hold his first campaign event later this month. His slogan, Make America Great Again, in a couple of years. I can wait. I can wait for America being great again. I can wait. Yep.
Okay, well, you know, there's a study found a kid who was mom's favorite is more likely to suffer as an adult from depression.
Ooh.
Were you your mom's favorite kid?
Yeah, I kind of think so. That's what everybody else tells me. Yeah. I was the most babied, that's for sure. If you haven't noticed.
Oh, yeah. See, I always was told that I was the favorite because I was the oldest. I always came back and said, no, wait a minute. I had to break the barriers. I had to get in trouble. I had to set the bar.
Yep. Plus, your parents didn't know what they were doing when they were raising you.
That's right. I was the practice kid.
I was a sickly kid. Literally, if you ever saw the John Travolta movie back in the early 80s, I was actually the boy in the plastic bubble growing up. So I got babied a lot.
A lot? Ooh. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Well, you know, I'm going to say, I guess so. It has come as a huge shock that no one is going to follow you through life, cutting your meat into little pieces, Scott.
I disagree.
Oh,
I've got bad hands, and I've talked a lot of people into cutting my meat into little pieces. Well, you know, I think part of it's because they don't want to watch me at a fancy restaurant eating a steak with my hands. All right. 57% of us think ghosts have been in our homes. 27% think Bigfoot has visited. I'm not buying it. Bigfoot would leave tracks. Well, not on the lawn, on your door ring bell, your door, you know, the door ring doorbell. Mm-hmm. You'd have something. All right. Here we go on to the world of wacky but true. Mike gets to kick it off again. We don't add any jokes to these stories because, well, they're already in there in one way or another. Kick it away.
Okay. A man rammed his car into a convenience store in South Korea because of a plastic bag. At around 10:30 p.m. on Saturday, the driver slammed the car into the store. The man then rushed into the store and assaulted the owner. The driver was reportedly under the influence of alcohol and was upset because when he had asked the owner for a plastic bag for ice cream, his request was refused because the ban on single-use plastic bags.
Ooh, angry much?
Prepare to meet Mr. Angry Eyes.
Yeah, angry people. All right, I'm gonna skip that one because it says.
Oh, you are.
It says caution, and I said I had all those fart jokes, and I skipped them, and somebody actually posted online. Thank you for doing that. So we'll skip the bathroom story. Here we go. A witch in Romania was sued by a customer after the spells she gave him didn't have any effect. Wow, I've never seen that happen before. Romanian man paid the witch to make his 40-year-old son get married, but nothing happened. He's still got this problem.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
Dad couldn't help him.
Okay, well, I'm going to skip the next one because we've already done it.
Oh, okay. They did the same one twice. That's horrible. Oh,
that's right.
All right.
Fire them.
I did have a better sound effect, though. So this is the story of the German burglar broke into the apartment to rob it. When he got inside, he found a dead body, called police from within the apartment, and ran. Officials discovered the elderly resident in his bedroom. He had passed away about 2 weeks ago. The burglar had this to say.
I see dead people.
That's all I got.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. In Wales, a man was found staggering down the street late at night, covered from head to toe in flour and ketchup. Huh. Wow. He's kind of like a standing burrito. Police asked what had happened. He was so drunk he couldn't tell them.
My wife was gonna make me into a hot dog. I don't know. How would you get doused in flour and ketchup?
No idea.
You're totally confused again, aren't you?
I am, but I do have the last story. Taking place in Nashville, 21-year-old Matt Hugg hit the gate to a parking garage late Saturday night, and several pillars and then some parked cars, all within the garage. He smacked into a lot of stuff. Officers made contact with the man who reeked of alcohol. No. And observed heavy damage to both the front and rear of his vehicle. Inside the second story of the garage, officers located his bumper, his headlights, his wiring harness. I've never heard of getting in an accident and losing your entire wiring harness.
Wiring harness, yeah.
And paint chips all along the driving path, and, well, I picked out this.
Wreck? Shoot, I'm the world's best backwards driver.
Apparently. All right. That's our odd news for a Wednesday. Tomorrow on the show, it's Three Idiots. We like to call ourselves, though, the Three Amigos. Catch up with Chuck Ritchie, Alan Milani, and myself, Scott Allen, tomorrow morning at 7:20-ish, because we never know when we're going live around here. It's public radio. All right. Mike, any closing words? Anything you want to throw out?
Yes, I do. A couple of things. First of all, be sure to visit the Chihuahua Festival site or the Chihuahua Downtown Festival Association site because they're looking for volunteers. And so sign up, have a good time. They'll direct you where you need to go and all that good stuff. And then on the 21st, which is this Saturday from 2 to 6:30 in the afternoon, there's a gallery showing of local art at the Rusty Putter on the Chihuahua Golf Course. So we enjoy having you stop by and telling us what you think.
All right. And what was that day again for the golf course art show?
The 21st, January 21st.
Right around the corner. All right.
Yeah,
and then,
right
man, when we head into February, things get crazy. Lots of stuff going on that first week of February.
Lots.
Just going to explode.
Yeah. I mean, typical Chihuahua. I mean, like I said earlier, unless you're living under a rock, there's plenty to do.
All right. Well, once again, Mike Bentz, thank you for sharing with us, Mikey. And the rest of you, have a great day. Keep on listening to Northern Lights Public Radio.
Bye.
Bye.
You're totally confused again, aren't you?
Hail to the king, baby.
Wreck? Shoot, I'm the world's best backwards driver.
Let them eat static.
You're listening to Northern